5/7/2019.
That's the date. And this bud's for you.
Joey Ricotta, because he is the first Cubs fan to come on the Tom Green podcast. Joey, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Tom. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Oh, definitely. And of course, welcome to the Tom Green podcast to everyone else. The MLB show once again, because we're having a party, and it's because it's the MLB show, we had to bring in the most interesting Scorecrow in the world, Johnnie Black. Well, Black is back. Welcome back.
Thank you, sir. As always, a pleasure.
Oh, definitely. And of course, because Joey is a diehard Cubs fan, last night and of course over the weekend, I had to make him kind of jealous. And I'm going to be giving a few shout-outs here to three great Major League reporters, three that I've met on road trips. First being Marlins reporter Jess Blaylock. She had actually traveled from Europe. She had actually traveled to Europe for a couple of weeks, had some fun in Belgium, Germany, and I believe England as well. Jess, correct me if I'm wrong on that. But her first game back was in Cleveland. And I took a little road trip with a couple drinking buddies from Cleveland just to drink, and I happened to notice that they were playing the Marlins. It's like, hi, Jess. And she was like, hi, Tom. And, of course, ironic coincidence, Rizzo hit his 200th home run last night, as Joey and Johnny are both aware. Marlins fan Eric Castaneda from Chicago, of all places, caught the home run ball. And Jess interviewed him tonight on the Marlins telecast as Rizzo treated Castaneda to some great things, of course, signing a ball for him, touring the Wrigley Field dugout, giving him tickets to tonight's game as well. And, of course, the Marlins actually treated him, too, to some swag from Miami. So, of course, I'll ask Joey first, are you jealous yet?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Well, this will make it...
When I saw those pictures,
What's that?
I was like, man, when I saw that picture of Kelly Crull and you, that's when I got really jealous.
That will be my next shout-out, is Kelly and I go a little bit back. I mean, just about a year. July 4th last year, I went to Tigers-Cubs, introduced myself to Kelly. We had a great time for a couple of minutes, and we just kept in touch, you know. We saw each other again after Hendricks' complete game on Friday in Chicago, and we're fun. It's fun to be around Kelly. It's fun to be at Wrigley, and someday, sure as God gave green apples, someday, Kelly Crull, Len Kasper, and Jim Deshaies will be on the Tom Green podcast, and that day may come sooner than we think. One can hope.
Hey, you got to have me back on that show if you do that, or when you do that.
Well, that's my hope as well, but my next shout-out specifically told me that sometimes we need to go through public relations for big-time guests, and I respect that. Guerin Austin from the Red Sox, who I shouted out on my Championship Sunday podcast with Meredith Gorman, I also met. I met her on the South Side. Her and I actually spoke about the Meredith Gorman podcast, and she told me, well, for us, we have to go through the PR department. It's like, well, sometimes we have to do that because contact people are people too, and we need to do that. But of course, Guerin's Guerin awesome, and she even said to me, well, that my family called me that when I was younger, and I'm like, yes, Guerin awesome. So, three great reporters there, Jess Blaylock, Kelly Crull, and Guerin awesome. I mean Austin, or do I mean awesome? Well, that's I will leave that for her to determine that. But besides that point, now I shall ask Joey, how jealous are you?
Yeah, a little bit more, and yeah, very jealous. You're just adding icing to the cake. right now.
And Johnny's thinking to him, Johnny's just shaking his head thinking to myself, why did I hire this guy? But besides the point, we'll actually start with Johnny, and we'll move to some actual baseball talk. So stay with us here as we do some actual baseball talk and not female talk or some type of talk. Anyway, breaking down each division. We're going to start with the American League East. The standings as they are now. Is this what we expected so far? And we'll start with the AL East, and we're going to kick it off with Johnnie Black. Johnny, is the AL East shaping up how we expected it to?
Somewhat. I think in general, yes. The Rays are obviously showing up this year. I mean, a lot of people looked at the 90 wins last year, and I mean, they definitely improved their team. So people were saying, well, 90 wins, 92 wins, maybe they can make a run for the playoffs this year. They started off on fire. I mean, they've cooled off since. But what they have, I mean, they're going to be around all year. I mean, granted, they may not be in first place all year, but they're gonna give the Yankees and the Red Sox a fight all year long. Because, like I said, they did win 90 games last year. You know, to get Austin Meadows back, they got Tommy Pham for a whole year. The kid Nate Lowe they brought up to play first base. He's starting to hit now. He's a big time prospect. His Brandon Lowe, who was filling in for Joey Wendell, he's no relation to Nate Lowe, the first baseman, but he's played pretty well. They have solid starting pitching. I mean, Blake Snell picked up where he left off last year, basically. He had the little hiccup with the foot issue, but they have a solid team. I mean, they can run. They play defense. Kiermaier in center field is a Gold Glove caliber center fielder. They can hit. They have a little deeper of a lineup than they usually have. Usually they depend on the young pitching and mixing and matching bullpens. Well, obviously they were one of the first ones to use the opener last year, and they've used it. They used it again today, and it actually worked. They won. They used Ryan Stanek to start the beginning of the game. Then they brought in Jalen Beeks, who's been really good, and he pitched 3 1/3 inning, actually got the win. So they kind of revolutionized that aspect of it, and it's still a new thing, and I think it really works for them. I mean, it obviously wouldn't work for all teams because of the personnel. You have to have the personnel to make it work. But it worked for them last year. It's working for them this year. And, I mean, they have a great bullpen. The two guys at the back end of their bullpen, Diego Castillo and Jose Alvarado, are just righty-lefty combo that is deadly. They have a solid team. They have a good bullpen, a good starting staff, a solid lineup, a deep lineup, young players coming up. Willie Adames, shortstop. They have a solid team. They're going to be around.
And now, I'm going to twist some words from Ozzie Guillen years ago, and Johnny knows this very well. Ozzie had said the Minnesota Twins are like piranhas. Well, in the AL East, I bet you Joe Girardi and Alex Cora might agree with Sir Ozzie Guillen. The Tampa Bay Rays are like piranhas. They're just so pesky. And they're just so young and so pesky. And at New Mexico State, and I'm going to switch to basketball for just a second. At New Mexico State, when Tony Snell was there, they called him the Silent Assassin. Well, he might not be of relation to Tony Snell, but Blake Snell is the Silent Assassin to the Tampa Bay Rays starting lineup. Joey, add on and or continue with Johnny's point.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much everything that he just said. And just Silent Assassin, Blake Snell. I mean, then you got Tyler Glasnow and Charlie Morton. I mean, it's just their rotation is so dominant.
Whoops, I almost got hit by a baseball because you mentioned Charlie Morton. Whoops, there's another one.
What's that?
I almost got hit because you mentioned Charlie Morton. Woo! That one went right by me.
They're just, I mean, their lineup is just top to bottom, you know, and then like Johnny said, and I think they pronounce their names differently with Nate Lowe, and I think it's Lau is this, the kid that got brought up. Well, he's replacing, like you said, Wendell. But, they're just kicking ass right now. I kind of expected this. Not them to come out, and be in first place right now, but I expected them to compete and be like a 3-team. I actually picked all 3 of those teams, including the Red Sox, with Tampa Bay and New York, to be in the playoffs this year. So that was my preseason pick because I really like. Really, it had more to do with their pitching, their starting staff, and their lineup though is just so strong. Meadows was. He was really dominating. They're looking like world beaters with that trade with the Pirates. Oh, with Meadows and Glass now. It's just like they're just mopping up with that trade right now, and the Pirates look like morons. But we'll save that for later because I don't want to completely bash them. But they are, our division rivals with the Cubs, so I don't really care that much. But
right.
But yeah, so. That's pretty much. I kind of did expect this with Tampa Bay. I guess just not first place right now, but yeah, they're kicking ass.
Because of course I shouted out Guerin before. We just got to ask Red Sox still the favorites to win the division. I'll start with Joey.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. They're turning it up a little bit, and I don't know what the final was tonight. Did you guys know who won that game tonight?
Yeah. Red Sox won 8-5.
Yep.
They won 8-5?
Yeah.
Okay. And, I expected them to turn it around. They started out really slow, but, they're going to be around. I think they still make the playoffs, but I don't, they're not division favorites for me because they just have so many question marks with the bullpen and even starting pitching question marks. They're kind of aging a little bit, and you got guys like Porcello that you're relying on with, Sale hasn't looked sharp. I don't know. There's just a lot of question marks. Is he going to turn it around? I don't know. That was a long season for him last year, so going deep into the playoffs and, that run. So, maybe it just is going to take them some time, and they got to kind of monitor it. But yeah, they're definitely not the favorites for me anymore.
So Chris Sale pitching like Chris Clearance. Johnny, Boston, are they going to turn around, make a division run, win the division?
I don't think they're going to win a division.
Sure.
But I will probably agree with Joey that the Rays, the Yankees, and the Red Sox will make the playoffs. I had, in the beginning of the season, I had the Yankees pick to win the division anyway. I had Boston finishing second, and then the Rays third, and all 3 making the playoffs also. Because I just don't see, because you look at the landscape of the American League, you get the Twins and Indians fighting for the AL Central. I honestly think the Twins will win that division, but that's for the next, division. Mm-hmm. But even in the West, Oakland's in last place. They get back down to earth. I just don't see anyone in the West doing anything except Houston. So I can easily see the Yankees winning. You got to remember something too. The Yankees have been winning games. They're in second place. I think they're only about 2.5 games back at Tampa, and they've had half their team injured.
I was going to say, I think their starting left fielder is Johnnie Black, and their starting center fielder is Joey Ricotta, and I'm their starting right fielder, and they're still winning games.
Yeah, like Aaron Boone had to bring in like his cousin or something to play left field. Like it was.
Maybe he himself had to play Aaron Boone.
Yeah, well, he threw himself at third base. But they got Andujar back. They're getting Hicks back possibly this weekend. And not only that, you got to give them credit, man, because the Yankees, they have all these injuries. They got a winning record, and they're 10-4 this year without Aaron Judge. Without Aaron Judge, they're 10-4. If they can do this, if they can be 5, 6, 7 games over 500 without Judge, Andujar, Hicks, Severino, don't forget Severino's hurt. Paxton just went on the IL, sorry, whatever. But, when you can do that and have all these injuries, you got to remember, Betances was hurt at the beginning. they've had they've had a bunch of injuries, and not just guys that are like, all right, you got your fourth outfielders hurt, all right, whatever. But they've had like half their starting lineup hurt and like half their pitching staff hurt, and they're still winning games.
Yeah, it's like an all-star team.
They're looking like the American League version of the New England Patriots. It's just next man up, and they just continue. They just keep going and winning games. You know what I mean? So I give the Yankees a lot of credit. You know, and I still think the Yankees are going to win that division. I think Tampa Bay and Boston are going to fight for that wild card.
And I hate to disappoint Guerin, but I also have to agree with Johnny and Joey that Boston's going to make a run, but I just don't see them winning the division. The Yankees, as I had said before, it seems like Johnny, Joey, and I are playing for the New York Yankees, and they're still winning games. I mean, if they can win games like this, the only trouble they could run into is when all those guys come back, seeing how they fit back into the lineup, getting their swing back. In fact, I was on the golf course Sunday, as even Guerin knows, because I tweeted Guerin that I was on the golf course that day because, you know, the weather was just crazy. And actually, I hit like on that tweet. But besides the point, I played golf Sunday afternoon. And it took me about 5 or 6 holes to get my swing back. Think about it with the Yankees. It's going to take about 5 or 6 games for Stanton, for Judge, for LeMahieu, for, you know, et al. To get their swing back. Will the Yankees survive that is the question. I think we all are in consensus that they will.
Yeah, I definitely think they will. I don't think it's going to be an issue. And I think they're going to be downright scary if they have everyone healthy at the end. Don't forget too, they get Didi Gregorius back probably after the All-Star break.
Mm-hmm.
So you got another infielder. I mean, DJ LeMahieu has been great. Luke Voigt has probably been their MVP this year.
Yeah.
I mean, he had like what, a 31 game on base streak. Like the guy hits the ball so damn hard. I mean, you can't even, and he's doing what he did last year. They finally, you know, they found their first baseman. You know, and once you get Didi back, I mean, you have Didi, Glaber, Andujar, Voigt, and you got DJ LeMahieu there in the fold, and you have Hicks and Stanton and Gardner and Judge, Sanchez behind the plate. You know,
yeah, I mean, who do you play at that point?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's it.
I think that's gonna be their issue. They're gonna be hard pressed to, like, it's almost like the Cubs issue. Like, who do you play every day? I mean, you know, it's like we're seeing that depth of it, but I mean, they haven't had everybody healthy at any point really. So, but if that happens, I mean,
personally, with the Yankees, what I think they should do when they have everyone healthy, I think they should DH Andujar, play DJ LeMahieu at third, Didi at short, Glaber at second, Stanton in left field, Hicks in center, Judge in right. And you leave Gardner on the bench. Or you could fill in here and there, like, you know, whatever. But I think
what about Frazier?
Frazier too? Sorry.
Yeah.
He's not better than Judge. So
no.
You got to be top line.
Niles on the team. If we're talking Frazier. See, that's why this podcast is so entertaining. So yes, besides the point, the Yankees 1 year away from the 20s, perhaps a reincarnation of Murderers Row. Only time will tell. Bring it to the American League Central now.
Yes.
I will ask, and I will start with Joey this time. Is this division how we thought it would play out so far?
Kind of. And I'm only saying that because I picked, and Johnny's going to hate me for saying this, but I did pick Cleveland to win the division, and I still think, what's that?
I said you're fired.
You're fired.
Oh, man. Okay, I take that back. No, but, yeah, I don't know. I think Cleveland, their pitching staff, it comes down to that because it's kind of it's holding them. You know, that's what's keeping them. That's what's keeping them competitive. Unless they get the bats, really. I mean, I don't know. Their outfield bats, they really have nobody in the outfield to hit. Lindor back really helps them. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Twins have just been hitting the shit out of the ball, and now they've got Perez throwing 95 miles per hour starting, and Odorizzi's pitching well, and it's just, I don't know, they're getting these contributions. Barrios, I mean, in which he looks like a stud. I didn't see what he did tonight, by the way, but yeah, I don't know. I think the Twins could realistically take it now, and I thought they could before the season too, but I kind of want to stick to my guns and say that Cleveland will turn it up and take the division, but now I'm not feeling good about it. I don't know. I think the Twins could really take it. I'm not feeling good about the Indians taking that division, but everybody else is kind of where we thought they would be at this point, I think.
Johnny, continue.
Yeah, the Twins surprised me too. I mean, I obviously had them pick to win the division because I just see.
Johnny, I honestly think they would have disappointed you since they've already lost 12 games, but continue.
Yeah. Well, that's all right. 22-12. I'll take 10 games over 500 in the first week. I think that all day long. But honestly, I saw this. I kind of saw this coming in the beginning of the year. Now the fact that Kluber's hurt now and Clevenger went down, that hurts the strength of the Indians. Now the Indians, like the Yankees, are pretty resilient, and I got to give props to the Indians in the sense that, they're second in the division right behind the Twins, and they've had two of their big starters go down now, and, without a lineup, they didn't have Lindor for the first couple weeks of the season. Like you said, they have no one in the outfield. Leonis Martinez playing center, and you got, Tito's Gardner playing right field. It's not,
and
they don't have...
thank God that Leonis is back and healthy.
Yes. Yeah, I always like Leonis Martin. He's one of those guys that's just got, you can see it on his face. He's one of those guys that has fun playing. You know what I mean? And he counts it as a blessing every day that he can play baseball. You can just tell the way he plays. And
I enjoyed watching him with the Cubs too, for the brief, the very brief run at the end of the season that he was with the Cubs. I enjoyed watching him play. They didn't play much, but more pinch runner and stuff. But yeah.
Yeah, but he's always been a solid player. He's always been a good player. You know what I mean? But anyway, I just saw in the beginning of the season when I was looking at it, the Indians' strength is their starting staff. Now, their bullpens, I think, is pitching over their heads at this point, and that's what's helping them too. But I just don't see them maintaining it. I mean, Kluber out now for a while. Clevenger's still not back for another month. Bauer got lit up the other day, or yesterday, I think it was.
He had a Bauer outage.
Yeah. Bieber. I mean, they brought Rodriguez to pitch today. I just don't know. I just don't know if they can maintain that. And I love Tito. He's my favorite. Personally, my favorite manager in baseball right now is Tito Francona, and probably top 5 for me all time.
Oh yeah, I also got to mention, because you mentioned Tito, I went to Tribe Fest back in January with my drinking buddies. Kind of the same thing like I did with Indians Marlins. And
you drank Tito's vodka?
And I, not quite, but I bought a thing of Jose Ramirez salsa and a thing of Tito Francona's spaghetti sauce. And I got it signed by Tito, and I actually got to meet and shake Tito's hand.
Nice.
So yes, Joey, be jealous once more. I met Tito.
Yeah, because I'm almost 100% Italian, so you got the spaghetti too? I don't get it.
And you see, and you see, yes, we're getting sidetracked, but that's the point of the podcast. When I cook spaghetti, I of course cook the spaghetti first, and I got to put the sauce inside the already cooked pot, and then I put the spaghetti in. Boom. Cooked spaghetti sauce in less than 2 minutes, rather than putting it in a separate pot for 10 minutes like my mom does. And it's come on, one pot. You can do it.
You gotta let it simmer, though. You gotta let it, marinate a little bit.
I'm getting tips
That's
for
how
my
my-
spaghetti.
Well, hey, you know what? I don't really know what the hell I'm doing. My mom does it all, but that's the tip that I get.
I don't know, man. I cook my sauce for like 6 hours, so I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, she cooks her sauce for. She lets it sit. She does it for one day, and then sometimes she'll do it for that day. But then if you let it sit overnight, it tastes so fucking good.
Yeah. Oh, the next day is better.
Oh my god.
So when you got the meatballs and the sausage and everything, oh man,
oh hell yeah!
So if you need tips on how to cook spaghetti,
I'm hungry right now. I'm getting fucking hungry.
You listen, and you've come to the right place. But yes, meeting Tito was great. I might as well transition to my own thoughts. And Johnny almost fired me before hiring me too, because I had Cleveland winning the division by a single game, because I wasn't convinced with Minnesota yet, because I'd even said on that show, let's see what happens later in the season. Let's see come trade deadline. I'm still a bit that way right now. However, things have changed a bit. Kluber's hurt. Clevenger's hurt. Bauer, of course, had a Bauer outage. No, we don't know if he's still using drones back again yet, but still. And F everybody that sent death threats to these players, because Trevor Bauer tweeted about that earlier today, and I saw that, and it's like, come on, people. I mean, we all have opinions. It's what it is, but you don't tweet stuff like that at players, because players are people too.
Yeah,
right.
I just want to touch on my Twins too. Now that we've been talking about Cleveland this whole time.
Sure.
But I do love Trevor Bauer. And that's the funny thing. Like, I hate Cleveland because they're in my division and they're a division rival, and they're the biggest threat to us to win in the division. But I do love Trevor Bauer, his tweets and everything like that. I follow him on Twitter. And I love Tito. But going to my Twins, Martin Perez has been a huge surprise for me. And by the way, the Twins shut out the Toronto Blue Jays again tonight. So 2 games in a row, we shut out Toronto.
Better check the Blue Jays dugout to see if there's any bats in there.
Yeah.
Because now that Joey Bats is gone, I don't see a whim of a bat in the Blue Jays dugout.
Well, that's if Vlad.
Vlad is just like... Yeah, he's a bust already. He's a bust. He needs to go back to AAA immediately.
Yeah. But anyway, with the Twins, I mean, honestly, you got to look at it this way. Barrios is a stud. He's 24 years old. It's his 3rd full year in the majors. He's learning how to pitch. Now, he's always had the stuff, but it takes time. Once you get like 500 innings in the major leagues, that's when I think you start to turn that corner, and that's about what Barrios is right now, closing in on 500 career innings. After that, I mean, Kyle Gibson's on a contract here. Odorizzi's on a contract here. Martin Perez signed for 1 year. So you got all these guys in the staff looking for that bigger deal. You know what I mean, for next year. So they're all going to pitch well. They're going to try to anyway. But the contract year is always a big thing. And then not only that, too, they have a couple guys that have really been underrated. I mean, they play in Minnesota, so they don't get a lot of national attention. But the fact that Max Kepler, Jorge Polanco, who was suspended for 80 games last year, Eddie Rosario has been a stud for like the past 2 years. So I don't know, that's not a surprise to me. The guy's hit 24, 27 home runs the past 2 years. He's got like a 280 lifetime batting average. So I don't know. He's just a good hitter. Yeah. Anything out of Buxton, and when Sano comes back, I mean, Nelly Cruz is 88 years old and he can still hit bombs. Williams Astudillo, that dude is I just love that dude. He's got 53 plate appearances this year. He's got 1 walk and 1 strikeout. How amazing is that?
That's crazy.
And he's hit 300. Like, I don't understand it. He's like a throwback guy. Like, he's like Bartolo Colon's mini-me, too. He's like this little chubby dude. But, I mean...
He looks so goofy looking.
Yeah. But I don't know. He's a fan favorite. They love him. Like, just like they loved Kirby back in the day, because Kirby was short and chubby. I mean, he played his ass off. So, I mean, the Twins, they have a really good team, man. They have a really good team. They got power. They got some speed. They play good defense. I mean, Buxton's maybe the best fielding center fielder in the majors. You know, and I'm fine with him hitting 250. I don't care. With his fielding and speed, that's fine with me. You know, I know he's not going to be the prospect that everyone pegged him to be, but you know, if he can play Gold Glove caliber center field and steal 30 bases a year, that's fine. You know, I can deal with that. He's batting ninth anyway. It's all right. But I mean, I think the Twins have a solid team all around. And their bullpen's been solid too. Hildenberger, Trevor May, Taylor Rogers. Like, they've all been good. And I give a lot of credit to Rocco Baldelli, the rookie manager, and he's using the analytics. He's mixing and matching, and he's pushing all the right buttons now. Now, they're going to go on a losing streak during the season? Sure, every team does. And we'll see how that works out. But honestly, as far as balance goes, I think the Twins have the best team in that division.
Yeah, I am now officially going to change my Central Division pick to the Twins.
Oh, one more thing I wanted to mention, because Tom mentioned it too, at the trading deadline. The Twins have a bunch of prospects that they've accumulated for the past few years. So if it comes down to it at the trading deadline, they have a lot of trade capital to go get that extra bat or that starter or wherever it may be. They have a lot more trade capital and stuff in their minors than Cleveland does.
I got a question. Now that you said that, who could you see them moving in their system? Like, who do you think realistically they would move on from to try to get a piece?
I think the only two guys that are untouchable in the Twin system, Alex Kirilloff and Royce Lewis.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking that.
The only guys, only because, I mean, granted, Royce Lewis is a shortstop, and they locked up Polanco for the next 5 years. I get that. But Polanco could always move to third. Or Lewis could move to third. Sano is not a very good fielder. He's decent at third base. He's adequate. He's not as bad as Andujar or Devers. But
oh my God, Devers.
Sano will take over as DH for Nelson Cruz next year, basically. You know, if they don't pick up his option. But if Sano comes back healthy and can hit the ball, you know, we'll see what happens. But I think Alex Kirilloff the dude's a hitting machine. The guy's just incredible. Those two guys, I think, are untouchable. Everyone else, they have this kid, Brustar Gratterall, who's a starting pitcher in the minors. They have a couple guys that have some experience, Steven Gonsalves and Adalberto Mejia, Fernando Romero. They have a bunch of guys with major league experience. So, I mean, they can move anybody. But Lewis and Kirilloff are the two guys I don't think they'll move. I think they're looking at them as being the next wave of hitters coming into the lineup.
That makes sense. I didn't think the Cubs would move on from Eloy, though, and they did. So, I don't know. I mean, they know it was their time now, but if the Twins are thinking that way, then maybe they might. I don't know.
Well, I'll say this. Those two guys are pretty untouchable, but of course we know no one is untouchable. I think if the Twins move either Lewis or Kirilloff, it's going to be for a younger pitcher who they compare with Berrios for the next few years. It's going to be someone who's signed or who has control, like a Syndergaard. Someone like that, like who's got a couple years of control. They're not going to trade him for like Madison Bumgarner, who's going to be a free agent at the end. They're not trading him for a rental.
Right.
So the only way they would move one of those guys is for someone like I said, like a Syndergaard, who's got 2-3 years of control left, or someone like that. You know, they're not going to move him for a rental. Not going to happen.
Very good points from our boy Johnny. Yeah, Joey, go ahead and finish out this central.
talk. Sorry. Yeah, just one more question, I guess.
Sure.
What would be the weirdest fucking thing? What if they traded in division and got one of Cleveland starters because they're trying to kind of reset? I don't know. There was rumors about them trading a pitcher. It'd be so weird to do it in division though, like before the season. Like Kluber, I think they were talking about, but I don't know how many years he has or anything. But
2 more after this year. I mean, Kluber would be interesting. Bauer's only got one more after this year, and Bauer's already come out and said he wants to go on 1-year deals. He doesn't want to sign.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of weird.
He wants to go on 1-year deals. So, someone like Bauer, don't get me wrong, I love Bauer, and I'd love to have him. The dude's got great stuff, and he's incredible. But Kluber, I don't know. He's 33 years old. Doesn't have a lot of mileage on his arm, but, I'd love to have Kluber. I just don't know if that's viable at the Twins trade with the Indians. I just don't see that happening, man.
Yeah, why would they forfeit their season that way?
Yeah, I don't see that happening. Someone like Clevenger, I would love, because I think he's still got 2 years of control, 3 years. I know Kluber does because he signed a contract. So I know he's got next year and 2021. He's fairly cheap too. For someone like Kluber, I think he's only making like $18 million. So someone like him, 2-time Cy Young Award winner, and granted he's 33 years old, but he's got less than 2,000 innings on his arm.
And here I am as a Tiger fan thinking, why can't this be us?
You guys got a long way to go.
Yes, we do. We wonder what's going on with Gardenhire too, as he left the game early today, and he was not ejected either. So
really. Oh, man, I love Guardy, man. Oh, I remember him for days, man. I love Gardenhire. He's an old school baseball guy.
I will definitely keep on track with that as time goes. Moving on to the American League West. A great Twins conversation there. As I will admit, I actually stepped out of the room for a couple minutes, and that's because St. Louis just won Game 7 over Dallas. They had just scored. So I just wanted to see the handshakes as you guys were conversing. But yes, sometimes that happens on live podcasts. So,
right. I don't like that result, but yeah. I hate the Blues.
You're singing the blues, definitely.
Yeah, I'm a Blackhawks fan. Of course, I gotta hate them, right?
Oh, that's unfortunate as a Red Wings fan up here.
Oh God, yeah, you're from that area. I get it. But you're also a Cubs fan, though, so you kind of get a pass, because if I'm picking sports, I'd rather prefer. I'm picking baseball over hockey, so.
There we go. And FYI, Giordano's is GOAT of Chicago pizza.
I'm not in Chicago. Technically, I'm like an hour and a half out in Rockford, or 2 hours out. So you're kind of asking the wrong person, I guess, when it comes to that. A lot of people would say like Lou Malnati's.
Okay.
I don't know, Giordano's. We have a Giordano's in town, and I'll tell you right now, we have way better local places, and I actually work at a local place here. I've been there for a little over 10 years, and to me, it's the best pizza in town. And there's a lot of other great pizza places, and Giordano's doesn't even come close to that to me. So,
gotcha.
I don't know. I don't know. You can't really speak for Chicago, though.
Gotcha. So, back to the AL West. Johnny, is this division shaping up how we thought it would?
Pretty much. Houston's in first place. We kind of all expected that. They have the best team, possibly in the American League. Their pitching staff is just ridiculous. When you have Verlander and Cole at the top of that staff, the depth is going to be a problem with them going forward. But, the lineup is still solid. Alex Bregman is ridiculous and probably the best hitter on the team at this point. I love Altuve and all, but Alex Bregman, I think, is the best hitter on the team. Still got Correa, still got Springer, Gurriel, all these guys. The rest of the division, Seattle started off real hot. They're back down to earth around 500. Oakland in last place is a little bit of a surprise, but I think they played way over their heads last year, especially with their starting staff. They won 97 games last year with Mike Fiers as their ace. Come on. You can't keep doing that.
And Mike Fiers was basically the ace of a 64-win team that he got traded from at the trade deadline.
Yeah, you can't go in with Mike Fiers and Trevor Cahill, and I'm sorry, it worked last year. They had a great year last year. It was great for them, and they made the wild card and all that stuff. But they're back down to earth now. You know, they have some good players, don't get me wrong. I love Ramon Laureano in center field. He's good. Chris Davis, you know, he'll hit 247 again this year, you know, with 40-something home runs. Piscotty,
the hitting Chris Davis, as I remember tagging Johnny and Soupy in a bunch of and Orioles Chris Davis memes.
But yeah, it's pretty much shaken out the same, like what we thought. I mean, Houston's in first place, and they're going to win that division. It's not even going to be close. Like we said before with the AL East, I think the 2 wildcard teams come out of the AL East. Because I think Cleveland falls off, like what we said. I think Cleveland falls off because I just don't think they have enough to trade for anything that's going to mean anything at the deadline. And their starting staff is not going to carry them all year, especially with the injuries they've had already. And then in the West, it's Houston and a bunch of 500 teams. So it's pretty much shaping up the same.
Joey, anything to add?
I'm in 100% agreement with that. I actually didn't pick. I almost picked Oakland to finish behind Texas in the division, and I said it was a possibility that could happen. And now I don't know. I'm still feeling that way. So
right now.
yeah. So, but the Mariners, you know, they started out so hot, and it was like, I didn't think that was really sustainable either, but they had that great stretch where they were hitting home runs every game. But, you know, I don't know. I think they can still kind of hover, but, I mean, obviously you're seeing them really sliding downhill after that hot start. So, I mean, yeah, it's a clear cut. I mean, Houston could be the best team in all of baseball. So, I mean, I don't know. It's Houston and really the rest of the pack. I thought the Angels would be better this year. And right now, they just got Ohtani back today. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess we'll see. But I don't know if they really have the pitching either. So, you know, for the whole season, I don't think they really have the pitching to maintain or, you know, to keep it up. But, yeah, I think Houston's clear cut. They're taking that division, and it's pretty much just the rest of the field. And like Johnny said, it's the East or possibly the Indians taking that other wild card spot. So.
Oh, guys, Oakland's going to take this by a mile. I'm only kidding. Houston's pretty much the class of this division. I shall remind Joey that Brad Osmus is the manager of the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. So let's see how that season goes as a Brad Osmus 4-year unfortunate sufferer myself. Usually that does not fare that well.
No, that's I don't really like that dude that much when it comes to baseball.
Yeah, I had a lot of faith in Brad Osmus as the Tiger manager, but in year 4, I thought, yep, get rid of him. Let's start fresh. And thank God we got Gardy now, but we're still way back. It's basically Houston's division, and everybody else is playing in it. Seattle, well, you got to find something sustainable because 6-14 is not going to win you any sort of anything. So that's pretty much my point with the AL West. Houston, everybody else. And as for wild card, yes, we had mentioned a wild card. If Cleveland can get their starters back, perhaps they have a chance, but it's basically 3 AL East teams right now. If Seattle can somehow find a way to get back to where they started, maybe they could challenge, but right now it's 3 AL East teams running away with this. Moving on to the NL. To the NL East, and Joey, I did not ask this to you, but I will tell you that I'm still sort of salty that Bryce Harper didn't go to the north side of Chicago, but it's what it is. We'll actually start with Joey. Is this division shaping up how you think it is, NL East?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'm a little bit salty that he didn't come to the north side, too. He's got a dog named Wrigley. Like, come on, man. But I guess, you know, they didn't want to spend it to get him, so that's the real reason why he's not in Chicago. But
And Joe Maddon's going to walk him
up.
like 15 times. We all know that from 2016, if we remember that series with Washington.
Oh yeah. They didn't want to mess with him at all. But maybe I don't know. He's been kind of cold to start the year up until today. Like he had a good game tonight, but I don't know. Yeah, he'll probably just avoid the hell out of him. So you know that Joe Madden respects him. You know he would have wanted him to play for the Cubs, but I don't know. They didn't want to spend the extra money and pay the luxury. So, but yeah, for the division, I mean, I really like Philadelphia. I picked them before the season, and I'm sticking to it. Aaron Nola doesn't look like Aaron Nola really this year, but the rest of that lineup is just stacked. But I really thought that any one of those four teams could have taken it, and it still can. I mean, you got Washington, New York, and obviously Atlanta. I think Atlanta's in second right now, right? So, any one of those four teams, it's really just a dogfight. Miami's just kind of, not trying to do anything, and they have nobody that anybody knows on their team. So, other than Granderson,
Besides Curtis Granderson.
Yeah, and he almost jacked one off Lester today, which he completely owns him in his career, I guess. I just found that out today. But he came like inches short of hitting the basket, or he did hit the basket, but didn't make it in the basket. But
Sorry, Granderson. Only Cubs make it in the basket.
That's right. Yeah, and well, if you're the Cubs and you're Chris Bryant, you just hit it over the basket. So. You just had a walk-off and then get interviewed by Kelly Crull, your friend. So
as Joey is still jealous about.
I'm still so jealous, dude. Like you don't know how many times I just sit here and I just love watching the post-game interviews, and I'm listening to the players, what they're saying, whoever she's interviewing, and I'm just staring at her. Which I hope my girlfriend doesn't listen to the podcast, but. Yeah.
Kelly's probably going to think, oh, God, do I really want to come on Top Show?
You don't have to have me on the show, I guess. That's fine.
No, Kelly loves me, so.
Well, I just don't want her to feel, real weird, Now she's going to be, if she was on the show and maybe you had us on again with her, then she'd be like, what the hell, this creeper's just staring at the TV at me, and now I'm doing a podcast.
See, at least you're being honest about it. That's the thing. Honesty is the best policy.
It's just my eyes aren't hurting when I'm looking at the TV, that's all.
Back to NL East.
You got a beautiful woman. What am I supposed to do? I love the entire scene. It's not like I was sitting there doing really weird things watching. I was just watching,
That's a good point. Good backup statement there. But NL East, Miami's taken this division by a mile. Am I right? LOL. Johnny, anything to add? Even on the woman points, anything to add to this NL East discussion?
Yeah, I actually haven't seen Kelly Crull, so I can't comment. I don't watch the.
Come on, you've seen my picture with Kelly, so you know.
You're gonna watch now.
Well, there are plenty of beautiful women out there that are doing a great job. I'm going to take the PC end of it.
I was going to say, Johnny's really thinking, I just hired two morons at my own writing site. But anyway.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, guys, man, whatever,
Yeah. But you're right, though. There are a lot of beautiful women in the sports media world.
Just look at my networking thread.
Let me tell you. I just want to tell you, there's a girl, Alex Corddry, who does.
That's another one I want to meet. Is Corddry.
She used to live in the
Chappell. She did get married.
Now she's Chappell.
Congratulations, Alex Chappell. Best of luck. Yes, I'm around a lot of women. I'm respectful, though. That's why I get to be around said people. But congratulations, Mrs. Chappell, Washington National sideline reporter. Continue, Johnny.
Yeah, I know her.
Really?
We're friends. She used to live in the building that I worked at.
Well, then inform her about me. And
she actually got she got me last year. Was it last year or the year before? I think it was 2 years ago. She got me tickets to go in and like go watch batting practice like on the field with the guys. Like I met Peter Gammons and stuff like that.
I will be tagging Alex in this, and let's see how that goes. Alex, Mrs. Chappell, welcome to the Tom Green Show.
Let me tell you, Alex is great. She's a wonderful woman. Like she's so nice. Like she's like the nicest girl you'd ever want to meet. Like she is great. And I remember her. She started dating her now husband Scott when she was living in the building. I used to talk to her. I know Scott too, her husband, and everything like that. Like, so yeah. No, she's a great girl, and I was so happy for her. I congratulated her like on Instagram and stuff, like when she got the jobs on the Nationals and everything. Like she's really good people. Really good people.
Yes, I actually tried to meet Alex when she was with the Rays. My buddy Clay Dabrowski is a huge Rays fan. We went to Tigers Rays when Alex. The Rays have had a revolving door of reporters. I got to meet Michelle Margot, was one of them. But the day that Clay and I went was the day that they were doing it on Fox Sports 1, and Corddry was off that day. And I'm like, damn it! Didn't get to meet Alex. But this is actually awesome. And Scott, hi. I'm nice. I'm doing this podcast with Johnny. I totally respect this. So, yeah, there's that. Now I was thinking I'm a weirdo, but besides the point, this is just unbelievable. Small world connections. That's part of the big networking thread I have. It's not so much what you do, what you know, it's who you know too. Networking is a key part of this business, and I'm sure as I will tag Alex in the big networking thread I have as well, she'll see that I have a huge networking thread. I've been around a lot of people.
Yeah, no, she's great, and you don't have to worry about Scott because he's a pretty big dude. So he'll probably kick your ass anyway. But anyway.
I think I'm pretty big too, but again, respect.
If you get out of line, Tom. If you get out of line.
Just stay in Michigan, is that what you said?
No, the two of them are great, man. Scott and Alex, they're great people, man. They're great. I was so happy to see them get married and everything. It was cool.
Congratulations to them.
Good. But anyway, going to the NL East. Let's switch back to baseball.
This is why this podcast is enjoyable. NL East.
Like we're on a huge tangent about it.
Yeah, right. But anyway, I've been to Washington Nationals to win the division. It's not looking so good for me right now. But like you said, Joey, like any one of those teams right now they play each other so much. They played each other enough already. They play each other again so much. And I picked the Nationals because I like the top three starters. Obviously with Scherzer, Strasburg, and the addition of Corbin. And Corbin's been their best pitcher this year. So for everyone that was saying like 6 years, $140 million, he had one good year, blah blah blah. Well, he's showing that he's the real deal. Of course, Scherzer is Scherzer, Mad Max, whatever. And Strasburg, as long as he can stay healthy, he's still lights out. Their bullpen is still an issue, but I thought their lineup was going to be much better than it has been. Guys like Soto's still hitting somewhat, but of course he's not what he was last year. Because everyone makes adjustments. The league makes adjustments. Same thing with Victor Robles. Rendon just came back today, went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts and got thrown out of the game. Trey Turner's out. So they've had issues. Brian Dozier wasn't what they thought he was. Carter Kaboom came up and hit a home run like his first game, and then he wound up hitting like 130 the next few games, and he just got sent back down to AAA. So the lineup's not clicking yet. When they get Turner back and Robles and Soto start hitting, I think they're gonna catch a little fire. But yeah, the NL East is those 4 teams.
So the
basically.
Nats. So you said the Nats lineup isn't doing this yet? Probably couldn't hear it, but I was clicking with my mouse.
Oh. They're not doing Nat things.
Whatever that is.
Yes, Alex, I'm funny too. You can tell. Anyway.
But I kind of sorted the Nats, and then I picked second place. I picked the Phillies. Third place, I picked the Mets. I put Atlanta in fourth. I just, Atlanta's pitching has actually surprised me a little because I thought they'd all fall off. I mean, Fulton-Avich had a great year last year. He's been banged up. Newcomb. But Max Fried has stepped up. They got Mike Soroka. A bunch of guys that have stepped up. The bullpen's been garbage, though, because they haven't Vizcaino's done. Minter's hurt. They've had issues, too. But, I still think Philly's going to finish second. I still think Washington is going to take that division. I still think their pitching will be solid. Their top three stays healthy all year, and they'll get it done. Their lineup's going to come up. Their lineup's going to step up and start clicking, and they're going to roll off. They're a team that has enough talent where they can win. They can go on a roll and win like 15 out of 16 games, and make up like 7 games in the division. Like they can do that. So I'm still sticking with the Nationals, and Phillies in second.
Sure thing.
If we're
Joey,
talking
anything to add?
I'm sorry. I just got a thought now. If we're talking pitching, New York's got a hell of a staff, and their bullpen. They still got guys down there that, they can get it done.
Yeah.
We see it with Diaz and stuff. If they get hot, you haven't seen Cano get hot yet, which I thought he was going to have a big year. Nimmo started slow. I think they could really, if you're talking about just pitching alone and completeness of the team, they haven't had Chad Lowry.
Yep.
So they could realistically, and that's why it's such a 4-team race. A real 4-team race in that division because their starting staff is just so good too. When Wheeler's on, get DeGrom and Syndergaard, of course, but and then even Matz. They're real competition in that division. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. Their top 3 matches up with the Nationals' top 3 easily. No doubt about that. I just don't think the Mets lineup to me is still. They need to click. They all need to click. Same thing in Washington because, like you said, with the Mets, they haven't had Lowry. Nimmo started off.
They need to do this, and well, not hearing it clicking. Anyway.
Conforto's been good. And Cano hasn't hit. Cano's going to take a little. First of all, Cano is not a first-half player. We saw it a couple of years ago in Seattle. And I remember in a lot of fantasy leagues, he was the first 2 months, going into June, the guy was hitting 230, and everyone was like, "Oh, Cano's done. He's done. He's 33 years old." Blah blah blah. And then all of a sudden he hit 3 the rest of the year. And you got to remember too, Cano's played in the American League his whole career. This is the first year he's played in the National League. So, and he's facing the best pitchers in the National League. He's facing guys like Scherzer, Strasburg, Corbin, Nola, Arrieta, guys guys like that. So it's a big difference. It's a big difference. It's a huge difference.
It's kind of sad that Cano has spent 6 years in Seattle, yet I still relate to him more as a Yankee than he was in Seattle.
That's the truth, though. That is the truth. I do too, and I know about his days with Seattle, obviously, and what he did there. But yeah, everybody, I think I'm in the same boat. I just look at him as a Yankee all the time. Yeah, it's because they haven't done anything. Seattle's got the longest non-playoff streak in all 4 major sports.
Oh boy!
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, they haven't made the playoffs since 2001. Wow. They better get on it.
Yeah. So because we're in the NL East, and we did a little Mets talk, and this will prove to Alex that I'm funny if she likes Family Guy, I gotta mention this.
Because so far, Halloween's a bigger letdown than being a Mets fan.
Opening day, and here's the first pitch, and the season's over.
Which that will be the case once again in the middle of June for the New York Mets. And unfortunately for DeGrom and Syndergaard, it will just be another year of struggling besides those 2 guys. So I did have Atlanta winning the division to start the year, but I'm changing that pick because Philly has surprised me a bit. And Washington, of course, is that veteran team that Johnny has said. This is a 4-horse race right now, but will become a 2-horse race come August and September, and that will be Philly and the Nats. Not Benny and the Jets, but Philly and the Nats. As of right now, give me Philly to win this division, Washington a close second, and could contend for a wild card if the next division that we're talking about beats each other up to a pulp, which I think they probably will, the NL Central. Because Joey is in NL Central territory, if you take 90 west of Chicago, it's the first town you see on the sign past Chicago, and that is Rockford. Is this division, the NL Central, shaping up how you think it was, Joey?
Now it is, yeah. It started out really.
Oh yeah, by the way, screw you, Ricotta.
What's that?
Screw you, Ricotta. You know what I mean.
Ricotta?
Yeah.
Okay. All
because they picked the Cubs to finish last in the division.
The Pacoda.
Pacoda.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ricotta, yeah, okay. I thought you were saying my last name weird. I was like, Ricotta? Picotta? I was really confused for a second. I was like, I don't know what I did.
Existed. No.
like I'm a Cubs fan. You're a Cubs fan. I mean, I don't know. What did I do?
But anyway, Picota. Sorry, Picota.
Picota. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now I got you. Yeah. Those projection systems are just like ridiculous, anyways. And I never really put too much stock into them, and it's crazy. There's so many people that look at that. I mean, I guess I get it, like when you're talking like Vegas odds, and the amount of people that are betting and putting money on this stuff preseason, trying to make a living off of betting, or trying to make a living off of get a huge amount of money from it. But the Pacoda thing's just crazy and ridiculous. But they started out so rough with the Cubs. I mean, they started out 2-7. And then 3-8, and it was just like. But once they went home, they finally went home from that long road trip to open the season. They really turned it up. I mean, now they're just kicking ass. They lost the other night, but they won on a walk-off tonight, and they swept the Cardinals this past weekend, as you know. And yeah, I mean, I really think that the Cubs can still take the division. Obviously, I mean, you gotta have faith too. Not trying to be just a homer, but. I just think they're good enough to do it. I mean, people talk about how their starting staff is old, and yeah, that may be true, but they're still so consistent, and you got guys that don't rely on power getting it done, and then Quintana's been a huge surprise this season, turning it back on and kind of pitching like he did with the White Sox. Actually, in the trade with Eloy, looked kind of, like a terrible trade, but now it's kind of, he's picking it up and pitching like the guy they thought they were getting. So, and then the Cardinals it really is a dogfight though. With even though they swept the Cardinals this past weekend, after losing yesterday, then they moved to second place behind the Cardinals because they won on Monday. So they were half game back, and then now they are half game up in the division again. So. Yeah, in Milwaukee, they're just hanging around. You got Christian Yelich, the reigning MVP, which we have a guy in Chicago that's playing like an MVP right now too, and Javi Baez. And actually, a few of them are really turning it up and kind of putting their names in that hat too. But yeah, I mean, I still don't think St. Louis has the pitching that that you need, and the same thing goes for Milwaukee. I mean, their starting staff, who is it? I mean, I don't know. Their starting staff really is questionable, to say the least. So, I think it is the way that I kind of predicted it would go. It just took a while to get here. So.
Yeah, and as for the Cubs, this is what they were saying during that rough start.
And think to yourself, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home.
There's no place like home. Johnny, add and or continue on with your Central analysis.
Well, I started out the year with my prediction. I predicted the Cardinals to win the division, and the Cubs.
Ooh.
Yeah, boo, for sure.
Like-
Can I fire my boss?
Yeah, Joey, like Patrick in that SpongeBob episode. Boo!
Joey quits now.
Yeah, I'm done.
But I picked the Cardinals to win the division, but I picked the Cubs and Brewers to fight it out, basically with the Phillies and Mets for the wild cards. I figured that would be the way it would work out. The reason I picked the Cardinals is because I had faith in the team. The fact that they got Goldschmidt this year was a huge upgrade for them. A huge pickup. I mean, Goldschmidt is arguably the best first baseman in baseball. I mean, I know you guys love Rizzo and all, but Goldschmidt is just, Goldschmidt, Rizzo, and Votto. All three of the best first basemen in baseball are in the same division.
Oh yeah, Kelly Crull. Rizzo is my doppelganger. But anyway, continue.
Nice.
But I mean, I thought Ozuna, he's in a contract year this year. Ozuna's solid. I like Harrison Bader. I like the way he plays defense. He's got some speed, got a little pop. I thought they had a solid lineup. Matt Carpenter just keeps doing what he does. I mean, Colton Wong is solid. Paul DeJong they locked up last year. He's power hitting shortstop. I thought they had a solid line. Yachty's still there behind the plate, controlling so the pitching staff's going to be good no matter what. It doesn't matter who comes up as their starting pitchers. Like Yachty and Molina takes them in and shows them what to do. But their starting staff has been a little weak. Their relief pitching hasn't been exactly what they thought it was going to be, although I still love Jordan Hicks. But I still think the Cardinals have enough, and I think they'll turn it around. Now, that being said, the Cubs, yes, their starting staff is older, with Lester and Darvish and Hamels and Quintana. You got some guys that are definitely on the wrong side of 30. But they all put together a year. If Darvish can get his command back, get his control under control, so to speak, Hamels had another good year in him. If Quintana could be the pitcher, like you said, Joey, Quintana could be the pitcher that you trade Jimenez for, they could be great. I mean, Hendricks pitched the Maddox the other day, complete game with less than 100
Which I was at, by the way. That was the game where I saw Kelly afterwards.
Yes, he is what he is. I mean, and obviously their lineup, and the way Madden mixes and matches their lineups day to day, he always gets the best matchups out of everybody. So I mean, Cubs are going to contend for the division. I mean, I picked the Cardinals, but there's no reason I couldn't see the Cubs. And with the Brewers, I compare the Brewers a lot to the A's last year, because the Brewers came within a game of the World Series last year. I mean, they took the Dodgers.
You don't have to remind us, Cubs fans.
But I mean, they did it without a pitching staff. They re-signed Gio Gonzalez, so they have basically the same starting staff they had last year. Josh Hader is just ridiculous.
Gonzalez is trash, by the way.
What was that?
Mr. Gonzalez is trash now.
He's pitched well for them so far.
Yeah, he's not going to soon, though.
Yeah, but he is what he is. I mean, that's the thing. The thing with the Brewers is they have such a great lineup. I mean, Yelich is ridiculous. And he had Lorenzo Cain, Moustakas and Shaw, and Aguilar. If Aguilar can get it, he started picking it up a little bit. Ryan Braun is still good as long as they give him his days of rest and keep him healthy. Ryan Braun's still a good player. Signing Grandal was huge for them. Because they got another bat in the lineup. Plus, they have a very good defensive catcher. I don't know. Brewers can be around. I just think they're going to be like the A's. I think they had a magical season last year, winning 96 games and winning the division with that pitching staff. Same thing I said about the A's. They won 97 games with Trevor Cahill and Mike Fiers. So are the Brewers going to win 96 games again this year with Gio Gonzalez and Julius Chassin? I don't see it. You know what I mean? I think they'd fall off. And I think they fall off enough where they could very well miss the playoffs.
Joey, he's just saying that to try to stay on the podcast. That's all. That's why he's doing it. He believes in the Brewers.
I feel like that's it, but I don't know. I'll take his word for it, I guess.
I'll stick with the Cardinals because I picked them in the beginning of the season. But like I said, I can see the Cubs taking it too. It's all going to depend on the older starting staff that they have having another year in them. That's down to, I think.
Well, we all know this is going to be the Cubs division to win by like 70 games, so why are we even disputing about it? But no, realistically, it's going to be a three-dog fight, like a three-dog night. Three-dog fight between St. Louis, Chicago, and Milwaukee, of course. I do see Milwaukee going to fall off a little bit if they don't do anything at the trade deadline. We'll see what happens then. I seem to be deferring a lot to the trade deadline, and that's really when a lot of this stuff shapes itself out. As for our other two horses, Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, yeah, it seems like the Rays won the Archer deal. Archer is really a lot about himself and not much anybody else, it seems like, on that Pittsburgh team, if we've seen Archer pitch. And Cincinnati, all they really have, yes, they have Winker, who, if we saw the Wikipedia edit, bats terribly, throws tantrums.
That's awesome. Is that real? That's his Wikipedia? Somebody put that in there?
Yes, I actually saw that at the Cubs game I was at. It showed up on my MLB memes, so I'll have to tag you in that afterwards. But besides the point, Cubs are going to win this division, I think. Yes, they have older starters. My Cardinals buddy Alex even said, Yu Darvish's first pitch resembles that of a Triple-A team in statistic-wise. The rest of his pitches are amazing. So he has to just get that first pitch in line, and Yu becomes Yu again. Give me the Cubs in this division. St. Louis a close second, Milwaukee third, as for now. Shifting to the NL West in our final division, and I think we're going to cap it off at the NL West. Johnny, is this how we saw the NL West from the start?
Yes and no. I mean, yes, because the Dodgers are in first place. They're the best team in that division. It's not even close. I mean, it's really not even close. I mean, Cody Bellinger had a historic April. Tied for the most home runs, the most RBIs ever in the first month of a season. I mean, he was just, he was like a Triple Crown winner in the first month of the season. So he bounced back from his little sophomore slump last year. I mean, they have Corey Seager back for a whole year. AJ Pollock's hurt now, but they have enough guys there. Their lineup is still good. Max Muncy can still hit home runs. Justin Turner's still a beast, and he started off slow. He's starting to hit again. He hit a home run tonight. Their lineup is fine. The pitching staff, Dave Roberts does a great job of mixing and matching. They have one of the best closers in the game at the end of the game in Kelly Jansen. Still. And their starting staff, I mean, they did well in the beginning of the season, and that's what Kershaw not pitching. Now Kershaw has come back, and he's pitched well. I mean, see, the thing with Kershaw is everyone was knocking him like last year, and everyone was like, "Well, Kershaw is not what he was." Blah blah blah. Kershaw had a 2.73 ERA last year. You're telling me you wouldn't take that every day from your ace? I mean, he had a sub-3 ERA, and it was his worst ERA in like 8 years. So 80% of Kershaw is better than 95% of the starters in the major leagues. So if he can throw the 150, 160 innings and have a sub-3 ERA and win 15 games from it, And of course, the rest of their starting staff is great too. I mean, Ryu's been pitching great. Maeda's solid.
Wait, Ryu's actually pitching? I thought he was always hurt.
Who's that?
Hungjin Ryu. I thought he was always hurt.
No, Ryu's got like a 2.5 ERA this year. He's been great.
Good for him.
He's been killing it.
Yeah, he's been great this year. Ryu's been probably their best pitcher. Because Buehler started off a little slow. Bueller will pick it up again. I mean,
Bueller.
They're just the best team in that division.
Bueller. Joey gets it. Joey, go ahead and continue.
Try. Always surprised in that division. Oh, sorry.
No, continue. Yeah, if you
got
continue.
I say the only surprise in that division is actually Arizona being in second place.
Yeah.
They got rid of Pollock, they got rid of Corbin, and they got rid of Goldschmidt, and they're still in second place, and they're like fourth in the league in runs scored. Like, where did that lineup come from all of a sudden?
They've got surprisingly good hitting this year.
Ketel Marte, man. Ketel Marte, like, yeah, this guy's just tearing it up.
Christian Walker's been, oh my God, his hard hit percentage. I was looking on Baseball Savant, and Marcos that writes with the Scorecrow too. Him sharing the stuff in the group chat. I mean, his hard hit percentage was just ridiculously high.
Yeah. Eduardo Escobar, an ex-twin. He had a stretch there. He had 4 3-hit games, like in 7-game stretch. 4 3-hit games. Like he was tearing it up. David Peralta still hitting. I mean, they're good. They're solid, man. And a lot of people said too with Arizona that they got rid of Corbin. Pitching staff stink. The pitching staff is still. Robbie Ray is still. I mean, he is what he is. He's like a left-handed
Robbie Ray.
Ryan. What was that?
Former Tiger Robbie Ray.
That's right. Yeah. But he's like the left-handed version of Nolan Ryan. Like he'll throw. Well, of course he doesn't throw the innings. It doesn't get that many strikeouts, but he'll throw like 5 innings, give up 1 run, but he'll walk 5 and strike out 9. Like he's just like is what he is at this point. But I mean, with him, Godley started off horrible. But I mean, that kid Merrill Kelly, they got from Korea. He's pitched fairly well.
Weaver?
Yeah, Luke Weaver. Found a new home there. I mean, they're not bad. Even the back end of their bullpen, Archie Bradley, Hirano, they have a decent team. It's just not enough. I mean, I like how they're playing, and I think they'll probably finish around 500. But they just don't have enough firepower on that team. I mean, of course, we got Greinke is the ace, and Greinke is too. But I mean, they just don't have enough to catch the Dodgers, and they also don't have enough, I don't think, to contend for the wild card, especially with all the other teams in the National League. Like we said about the Phillies, Nationals, Mets, Cubs, Brewers, Cardinals. Arizona's not that good. They're playing well now, and they're probably about an 80 to 85 win team, but that's not going to get it done.
Joey, anything to add?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. I'm a little surprised that the Rockies started out so slow. That's another surprise for me. I'm not surprised at all about what the Dodgers are doing. I am surprised about the Diamondbacks for all the reasons that Johnny mentioned. But the Giants, the Giants are clearly the best team in that division. I don't know. I really think that they're going to take the division. Buster Posey's he's killing it right now. So, no, I'm being 100% sarcastic. But
okay, I was going to say, whoa, hello. But I threw some curveballs over the plate that were called strike 3 by CB Buckner. So I mean that's what it is.
Yeah. So we're getting a hot take here from Joey.
Yeah, Brandon Belt's just gonna carry him all season. So
He carried me in my fantasy lineup tonight.
Yeah, they did good tonight. They definitely did good tonight. And I was all over Brandon Belt for DFS too, by the way, for tournaments. But I have no idea how my lineups are doing because we're doing this. But that's okay. I'm assuming it's not that great because when I looked earlier, it wasn't that great. So, but anyway, I digress about that. I think, Kershaw, him coming back and being strong, that's huge for the Dodgers too. If they're going to make a deep run in the postseason too. I mean, yeah, we talk all the time about how Kershaw is not really and I think they're going to take the division, so that's why I'm moving on to the postseason with them. But I mean, I think he's big. I think he still can be good in the postseason. We talk about how he's not the greatest postseason pitcher, but I mean, even at this point in his career, he's had the experience now in the postseason that I feel like, there's such small sample sizes. I mean, and now I think he's got that experience, and I think he'll be able to really pitch well in the postseason this year too. If he can stay healthy and pitch like he has been. I mean, he's got a strikeout per 9 rate over 9, and his whip is like 0.85. So I mean, along with his ERA, sub-3 ERA still, this season since being back. So I mean, yeah, and then you got like a MVP contender in Bellinger, which he's just raking right now. Their whole lineup is good, but I think the Padres, their time's probably next year. Like we were talking about it on earlier, me and Johnny last night, but the Padres, they have such good young prospects that I think they're really going to contend for years to come. And then you got the Machado signing and stuff, but I don't see them. I kind of see them tailing off this season, even though they started out pretty decent.
Gotcha. So I'm a little bit surprised about the Dodgers, and Johnny knows this because on the April show I had said that they were going to get off to a slow start like they did last year. Well, Cody Bellinger has surprised me, and they sit atop the division 2.5 games up in early May, 3 days before my 24th birthday. So, oh yeah, that's right. Jess, Kelly, Guerin, Austin, Guerin, Austin, and Alex and everybody. 3 days from now is my 24th birthday, so have tweets ready. But I digress. Besides that point, a little bit surprised about the Dodgers, but it will not surprise me that they will win this division by, I would say, 10 plus. Like I said, I thought they would get to a slow start. Cody Bellinger surprised me, and he basically avoided that slow start for the Dodgers. But I still think that they will hit a slow point or slow time at some point. And that point may be late June, early July, similar to, as Joey knows, the Cubs in 2016 when we lost Fowler. Geez, I was praying to God every night, we need Fowler back, we need Fowler back. And once we did get Fowler back, we won the World Series, as we know. The Cubbies did. But besides the point...
We go.
Exactly. I do think the Dodgers will hit a slow point at some time, maybe late June. San Diego has impressed. Arizona has impressed. Colorado and San Francisco have not. I think we do see Mad Bum being dealt at the deadline, and he gets mad about it because he wanted to stay in San Francisco because that was his main team. But besides the point, Dodgers still win this division. Ryu, if he stays healthy, will be awesome. So will Kershaw, as Kershaw is the awesome guy that he is right now, even though he's at a darn near 3 ERA, which is high for him. Give me the Dodgers by 10 plus. So, with that being said, we've gotten all 6 divisions in. We've gotten wild cards in. As I had said before, St. Louis and Milwaukee and perhaps Washington will contend for that. As I will ask Johnny first, anything else you have to add to this wonderful Tom Green podcast?
Oh, nothing but a shameless plug, actually.
Sure.
Follow us on Twitter at the Scorecrow. Joey writes for us, and now Tom Green actually writes for us.
Yes, that is
Right.
a new
So he'll
thing.
be contributing some articles. So yeah, follow us on Twitter at the Scorecrow. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Reddit. We're pretty much everywhere. We actually started covering soccer about a week and a half ago.
And today was
So
a
if you're
great
in-
day to do soccer as Liverpool came from
Yeah.
0-3 aggregate down to win, seemingly like in 2005. 4-3.
Yeah, I'm not really into soccer, but a bunch of our guys wanted to start doing it, so we have a bunch of writers that are running it. Our guy Josh Elias runs the soccer department. He also runs the NBA department.
Does he also run the Elias Sports Bureau since his last name is Elias?
To his knowledge of sports, he could. Believe me, the dude's really good.
Does he run WWE Elias' Twitter account too?
Yeah, right.
Walk with Elias.
Yeah, Josh is great. But yeah, follow. Check out the Scorecrow, thescorecrow.com, and if you want to follow any of the writers, we have on our contact page, we have all their Twitter handles. So on Twitter, if you like any of the articles that are written by any of our writers, including Joey or Tom or anybody, check out the contact page. It's updated every so often, and you can find all the writers' Twitter handles on there. So just go to the contact page and check them out. Give them a follow.
Mm-hmm. And I would also like to say that I would like to thank Last Word Basketball, Dan Richardson, Jordan Daly for the opportunity. As for me, I just felt that I had just run out of topics, and I felt that perhaps it was time for me to shift to something else. And with the Scorecrow, I feel I can really do that. Shift to baseball, shift to football, shift to basketball. That's just kind of me as I am in my sports world, and sports coverage is kind of like that. And with this, Johnny is gracious enough to put me on and let me do this, and I'm excited to get to work as I am right now and have been doing on this show for a long time. So yes, Johnny, thanks again. At the Scorecrow, follow them, and of course, Joey, I throw the question to you. Anything else you have to add to this wonderful Tom Green podcast?
Man, thanks for having me. It's been fun this whole thing, and I really appreciate you having me on. And go Cubs! I'm still jealous about the Kelly Crull and you being at that 81 pitch masterpiece by Hendricks. But it's awesome, man. Follow me on Twitter too. I'm going to give a little plug here, but follow me on Twitter at TheRiot326.
Do you mean Terrio326?
It's funny that you say that, because when I created my email, and I was telling Johnny this like a few weeks ago, but when I created my email, I just came up with it. It was around like 2011 or whenever he played for the Cubs, and I just for some reason I was like, the Riot, we'll just make it the Riot. So I did that, and just kind of stuck ever since. And Johnny, I guess he thought that it was actually the Riot that was like following them on Twitter when I started following the Scorecrow. It wasn't the real Riot, or the real Terrio, but yeah, I am the Riot 326. So yeah.
The Riot 326 at JBall0202 at TomTV23 at Tom Green Pod at the Scorecrow at Kelly_Crull if you want to follow Kelly, at Guerin Austin if you want to follow Guerin, at Jess Blaylock if you want to follow Jess, at A Corddry, I still believe it's A Corddry if you want to follow Alex Chappell now. Great people, we all are, and we hope to get them all on the podcast soon enough. Johnny, Joey, thanks again for coming on the show. Been a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Definitely. Thanks, Tom.
And this has been the Tom Green Podcast.